There are 1.3 billion English speakers around the world. The vast majority are using it as a second language. English has become a lingua franca to communicate with each other. I live in London, and in one afternoon I could speak to an Italian barista, a Polish shop assistant, and a Brazilian taxi driver. And their English is generally amazing, so much better than my Spanish. But speaking another language is really hard, right? You've got to think of so many things. Choice of vocabulary, choice of grammar, word order, stress, intonation, not to mention, how do you say this word? Or this word? Or this word? It's so hard, right? There's so much going on. Now, the reality of English communication today is that so much of it is done by people who have English as a second language. And I've noticed that this can cause problems, particularly with pronunciation. Confusion creeps in when sounds are missed and familiar words are said in unfamiliar ways. Think about the context that you speak English in. Are you speaking to people who have English as a first language? Or are you speaking to people who are just like you, learning English? If you come to London, the likelihood is that you'll be communicating with people from around the world, and you need to know what pronunciation features to look out for. So in this epic lesson, I've invited my Eat Sleep Dreamers to submit a video teaching us one pronunciation feature that speakers of their language find difficult in English. So for example, if you know that many French speakers drop the H sound on words like hotel and hospital, then when you're speaking to someone from France, you'll be much better prepared to understand them. Now, just before we get going, guys, if you would like to receive my weekly newsletter, ESD Notes, which has brand new lessons and bonus content, then you can sign up using the link in the description below. Okay, let's get going with our first contributor, Samantha.
Hello Teacher Tom, and hello everyone. My name is Samantha Dage and I'm from Lebanon. And I want to share with you an interesting thing concerning Arab English speakers. First, because the letter P does not exist in the Arabic alphabet, we replace it with the sound B. So instead of saying Paris, we say Beriz. We also use the word pantalon for trousers. You might hear some of us say pizza, not pizza, or computer, not computer, or even España, not Spain.
So Egyptian finds so many difficulties with English sounds such as P and B and that. So let's take the word peach. It begins with P and the sound kicks in with each. So you must say peach. What about apple? If you don't turn off your vocal cords on the sound, it's going to be able.
Okay, so Samantha and Mohammed are explaining that P and B variation, the fact that there is no P sound in Arabic, so the B is replacing it. So there's an area that perhaps we have to adapt our listening to be aware that, okay, there could be this variation. So we have to be aware that instead of Paris is Baris, instead of pizza is pizza. Now, often context will help us, of course, but sometimes it might not. Now, of course, not all Arabic speakers make this variation. It's simply that Samantha and Mohammed have made this observation in a lot of Arabic speakers. Now, interestingly, this pattern also exists in Vietnamese, and we've got Hao here to explain it to us.
Hello everyone, my name's Hao. Today, I'm going to talk about the words containing the letter P and B that many Vietnamese young learners find hard to pronounce. Here are some common words: backpack, purple, happy, pineapple, hippo. A lot of Vietnamese students say backpack, purple, hippo, happy, pineapple. We really got struggle with tongue twister like have a happy birthday party, Polly. I think we normally say have a happy birthday party, Polly. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.
So we've got these plosive sounds causing some Vietnamese speakers problems as well. Backpack, we had pineapple, we had purple. So again, it's not impossible to understand them. No, you can still kind of figure it out, and certainly in context, maybe we're in the airport and they say, I've lost my backpack. Okay, I know it's backpack. but sometimes context doesn't help us. Okay, let's go on to Spanish and hear from Eat Sleep Dreamer, Pablo.
Hi, Sleep Dreamers. This is Pablo from Madrid, Spain, and I'd like to teach you the difference between two sounds that lots of Spanish speakers mispronounce or mix when speaking English. And these two sounds are the j sound and the y sound, which is also called yod. The reason why we tend to confuse these sounds is that in Spanish we've got a very similar sound in words like yo, which means I, and ella, which means she. And in English we've got loads of examples like Jack, the name, and a yak, the animal, a jet, which is an aircraft, and yet, the adverb, a Jew, which is a Jewish person, and you, the pronoun, and a joke, which is a funny story, and a yolk, which is the yellow part of an egg. So, in order to make the j sound, we've got to place the tip of our tongue just behind the heart ridge at the front of the top of our mouth. And to produce the y sound, we've got to raise the sides of our tongue to the roof of our mouth. So, I hope it's been useful. Bye everyone, and a big hug for you, Tom.
Yes, this is one that I've really noticed in a lot of my Spanish students over the years. This combination of j and y and the kind of confusion between the two. We're using j when it should be y and y when it should be j. So I remember a student saying to me, yeah, Jess, I like it. And I was like, who's Jess? Why are you calling me Jess? And they meant yes. Also, Tom, I'm yoking with you. I'm yoking with you. Yoking? You're like an egg yolk? Well, oh, joking with me. Oh, okay. So there is that confusion. Again, of course, not all Spanish speakers do this, but Pablo has definitely raised our awareness so that when we're next speaking to a Spanish speaker, we can think, I know what's happening here. The y and the j get confused. Perfect. Okay, let's move on to French and Chelsea Love.
In French, the letter H is silent. So when we speak in English, we don't pronounce the h sound. Instead of saying High School Musical, High School Musical. Hansel and Gretel, Hansel et Gretel. Happy Birthday, Happy Birthday. Tom Holland, Tom Holland. Harry Potter, Harry Potter. Hamburger, Hamburger. Prince Harry, Prince Harry.
Okay, so I mentioned at the top of the video that there's this H dropping in French. It's a classic feature, and I'm sure you've probably heard it or you're aware of it. Chelsea Love gave us some great examples. Hotel, Hansel and Gretel, Happy Birthday, Harry Potter. Very, very common. And of course, if you are aware of it, you know, should be fine, right? And certainly context will help. Now this reminds me of a story about Charles de Gaulle, who was an iconic French figurehead. He was at a dinner with his wife, and I believe his wife was talking to someone, and they asked her, what are you looking forward to in the future? And she said, happiness. And the person said, sorry, what? And she said, happiness. And the person said, and then I think Charles de Gaulle leant over and went, my love, I think it is pronounced happiness. And she said, oh, quite different. But yes, the most important thing in life is happiness. Alright, moving swiftly on. Oh, I just want to quickly mention that this pronunciation feature is not just French speakers, it's actually in British accents as well. So for example, in Cockney, in Mancunian, H's are also dropped. In a Yorkshire accent, or some Yorkshire accents, the H is dropped. So this isn't just French speakers. Actually, we find it here. People that speak English as a first language might also drop that H. If you want to know more about all the British accents, or 20 of them at least, I've got a video right here, you can check it out. Let's go to Kusha and Farsi.
Hello, I'm Kusha, I'm 22 years old, I'm from Iran, and I've been teaching English for quite a while actually. And you know, the problem that most students have, especially at the beginning, is when they want to pronounce a noun or a verb or a word in general that starts with S and a consonant. So a simple example would be the word student. Instead of pronouncing it as they should, students, they would say a student. So they kind of add an extra E at the beginning. Or another one, study. Instead of saying study, like I study every day, they would say I study. So yeah, that's one of the main problems that the beginner students have, especially here in Iran.
Okay, this is a really interesting feature, that adding the vowel sound before the S. So you've got S student and you've got S study. I have noticed that in some of my Iranian students over the years. I've also noticed an issue with the V and W. So water instead of water, watched instead of watched. Now this doesn't cause too many problems, but you have to be aware of it. Okay, let's jump to Tanzania, where Simon is going to talk to us about Swahili.
Hello Tom, my name is Simon Kumbo from Tanzania in Arusha City. I am a native speaker of Swahili, and today I want to talk about the pronunciation mistake which is made by Swahili speaker when pronouncing the words with diphthong ow, as in now, go. Swahili speakers tend to use the monophthong o instead of that diphthong. The reason for this mistake is that the diphthong o does not exist in Swahili language. That's it.
Fantastic. Okay, so now we've dived into diphthongs, which is fascinating. A diphthong is two vowel sounds together. So he's talking about the O sound, O. Now, he's saying that in Swahili, it's O. So it's just a monophthong sound. So we're going from a diphthong, two vowel sounds, to a monophthong, one vowel sound. So go, lo, no. So a no-go area would be a not-go area. So not too difficult to understand, but you might find that familiar words are going to be pronounced in unfamiliar ways, and if you're trying to communicate with someone who speaks Swahili, then this could be an issue. So really great that we know that this diphthong now becomes a monophthong, or can become a monophthong. Okay, now we're moving on to Polish, and Agnieszka is going to talk about two sounds that might cause them problems.
Hi, I'm Agnieszka and I'm from Poland. I think that Polish people struggle with a long and short E, like E and I, right? In Polish we don't have this difference, so that's why maybe it's the case, but I can hear it especially in the pairs of words like sleep and slip, or cheap and tip, or maybe heat and hit, right? So that's the main difference, I think. Seed and sit. Most Polish people would say sick, silly, sisters, a sweet meat, where we put like a lot of E sound, but the proper pronunciation would be sick, silly, sisters, a sweet meat.
Okay, the classic E and I, the long E vowel sound and the short I. This is a problem in many, many different languages. It's the distinction between that length of E and I that Agnieszka demonstrates for us really, really well here. That tongue twister is a classic one to help us differentiate between those two sounds. Now, with this pronunciation issue, you do have to be careful, because if you use the wrong sound, you might say a bad word. So for example, the classic example, beach and bitch. Okay, so the beach where the sand, lots of sand by the sea, and then bitch is a rude word for someone. So you have to be careful. There's a couple of other examples. I've actually done a video all about this. If you want to watch that, it's right here. But don't overthink it, don't worry about it. Just practice that long E and the short I. This pronunciation feature does exist in lots of other languages. I know that lots of my Spanish students and my Italian students have had issues with this, but they're by no means the only ones. Lots of people have problems with this. Just practice that long and short sound. E, I. E, I. A huge thank you to all the contributors for sending in their videos. My goodness, you guys did a fantastic job. Thank you so much. Now, if you want to learn more about British English accents, you can click on this video here. And if you want to know about British English vocabulary, you can click right here. And I'll see you in the next video.